racism. We're officially dealing with racism. This is where Yu-Gi-Oh! Has gone. Well, I mean, technically, it's more focused on xenophobia, which, if you know what's going on in Japan's current political climate, you know is a very big deal there. But still, the fact that fucking xenophobia is here. Holy shit, I wasn't expecting that. Now, to be fair, when the show started, we got hints of a xenophobic element to it, or at the very least that they would be dealing with the very real world issue of the refugee crisis. For those of you who also don't know, this is also a hot topic in Japan. Do we let refugees in? Do we not? Blah, blah, blah. All this stuff was going on, and it kind of felt like because that was a hot button topic, the pressure was on the writers to write it out, and that's how we wound up in our god-awful, we're in space plotline. But it's just back. It's just here. I don't know if someone had to, like, get on their hands and knees. I don't know if a deal was made. I don't know if someone had to go do some glory hole shit. But effectively, the xenophobic element is back. And the way they present it kind of just makes it fucking work. Yeah, I thought this was actually a really strong way to introduce our villain, to show off what he's about, and to give you the idea why he's threatening. Now, yeah, it just kind of builds on what happens last week, but I liked what they did last week, so I'm glad they built on it. But yeah, so let us begin where the episode begins, revealing that Damanu, I don't know how to say it yet, the Earth Damer kid, stole a whole bunch of security tapes, which they then pieced together to then show the broadcast or the security footage of what happened in Yuga's duel against the bad guy. And yeah, it's a good duel. It's genuinely fun. I really like that Yuga is kind of in the lead for most of the time. It's not just this character we associate as being strong and cool lost immediately. It really felt like this guy just kind of got lucky, but him getting lucky is a big deal because of what him getting lucky allows him to then do, which we will get into. But yeah, it's a fun duel. I like the fact that there's actual fucking strats going on here. I love there's no fucking normal monsters. I just like the idea that Yuga set up a strategy and he summoned a cool new fusion monster that had built-in protection. When do we ever fucking get anything anymore with, like, monsters with actual good effects and just fucking built-in protection? That was some meta strats right there. Although it did make me laugh when Yuamu was so excited that his panther cat thing had a continuous effect that gave it 200 more attack points. It has 200 more attack points. Isn't that great? I'm like, bitch, I hope someone summons a Zeus against you one day and then you see how you feel. But yeah, no, it was pretty cool. It was weird though that this thing was called like Leopold or something. And it suspiciously looks like School Hunter Leopold from Vanguard. I'm just saying. But yeah, no, so you see this guy's deck where we got some iffy to crummy CGI. However, I will say I kind of liked the way the CG on his first monster made it look kind of unnatural and kind of creepy. I don't know if that was intentional, but it at least made that look interesting. But yeah, so the duel goes on, and this guy just straight up fucking says that there are only two types of people in the world, those born of the earth and the rest who all deserve to fucking die. And I'm hearing all this, and it's just like insane that we're getting this from this specific Yu-Gi-Oh show. Shut up, train! And yeah, and again, like, what's great is they utilize every element you need to make this work. Whenever he says anything like racist like this, he's always like presented as strong. The way they use shadow to make him look scarier, the way they make him look big, the way his monsters all just look genuinely monstrous. But at the same time, it is kind of fun and different that he's using a water deck. The last major antagonistic type character to use a water deck was Ryoga. That was like 4 Yu-Gi-Ohs ago. And also Ryoga, one of the best characters in Yu-Gi-Oh, lost his fucking duelist pack here in the TCG. I'm not fucking over this! But yeah, so then the duel's going on, and something I thought was really clever was right when Yuga seems the most triumphant, right when, again, he's just got this awesome new boss monster with great effects. Also, my boy used Miracle Fusion. That's right, he was all like, oh, all y'all plebs just being like, oh, I gotta summon monsters. He's like, nah, we on those next-gen strats. We gonna use Miracle Fusion. We banishing the Stratos and the Neos alias. We're gonna summon the Shining with 3200 attack, and we're just gonna swing over the whole Edison meta. Is Shining an Edison format? I actually don't remember off the top of my head. I have not put the money into building an Edison deck yet. But yeah, no, and so then, right now when Yuga's at his most strongest, we then cut to Yuhi, who then says that everything looked like it was going well until it just wasn't. And I like that this coincided with the scene of Yuhi just explaining what's wrong with him and what's bothering him. This idea that when they left Udius behind, he immediately started to worry and feel that he should have been able to do something or to help, that it was his job to help Udius out. And then when he gets back to Earth and sees that things are getting worse and he is once again powerless to do something or to help, I like that that's what spirals him into this anger and depression that's then been allowed to just build for 2 years. I think it is fairly realistic and fairly in line with the character that this is what would happen to him. And I like that it then just builds into the awesome fucking scene of the Maximum Summit. Just like, in comes the Maximum, and this was the one where the CGI looked the worst, but I'd be like, just look how big and epic it is. It's like a giant Cthulhu monster that just descends on the battlefield ready to just like kill everyone and destroy Yuga. And at this point, we already hate the bad guy because he's a xenophobic asshole. So to then just see him like take out my boy Yuga was just like kind of nuts. Yuga obviously then turns to Yuhi and says something that is obscured. My guess is words of hope or whatever. But then when Yuga loses the duel, and the whole next thing is that we see the big monolith thing come down, and 2001 Space Odyssey his ass and turns him into a card. That's right. That thing that happens in like every Yu-Gi-Oh is back for some reason. He got turned into a card, and now his only future is to be used as a fucking Nibiru token. That is not the future my boy deserves. Udius, fuck your 2 friends. Save Yuga. But yeah, no, this was all in all a really just badass episode. Like, again, it's just focused around introducing the villain and giving you a more of an idea of what's going on in Yuhi's head, and it just does it just really fucking well. And I already had high hopes for the bad guy because this is Yu-Gi-Oh! They love their bad guys. But I was kind of worried with Yuhi because, like, we spent like, 5-ish minutes on him and the other delinquent kids, who's just the ramen kid and like one of the Sky Aliens and one of the Grim Jersey Devil aliens. We spent like a few minutes on just them doing gags, but something that kind of hit me as the episode went was that the gags and seeing how the aliens sort of react and how they live and getting a look at their culture and their lived-in world came after the guy's xenophobic speech. So I feel like that's, and again, this might be coincidental, it almost kind of felt like they're setting up that this is a horrible monster because he does not see the value in life that he does not recognize as being worthy. But here we see that all these aliens are just trying to live their lives and be happy and have their own culture and world, and that is what makes the villain a bad guy. And that is what makes a compelling villain who I now want to see Udius beat. And so yeah, all in all, this was really good. And again, seeing all that comedy to then just see how Yuhi is just acting, I thought acted as a nice contrast. And you know what? Fuck it. I like Demamamu or whatever they are called. Fuck it. I like this character now. There was something just so bizarrely endearing about just watching them go around doing delinquent stuff, but it actually helping out. It was cute. Also, I didn't think the new Asuna girl and the Rovi, whatever her name is, the Goha girl, were the same age as Yuamu, but I guess they are. But don't question things you'd know the answer will just disappoint you on. So yeah, this was this episode. Fuck it. It's good. I'm in. I want to see this guy's ass get kicked, and I want to see what happens next. But as for the TCG question of the week, apparently a next level tech has been discovered. And by discovered, I mean they're already doing it in Japan. If you're playing the purely deck, you summon the Santa Claus, which is in defense mode, so you can ram it with your Xyz so you can get out of Zeus, which is why I made the Zeus joke before, because I've been thinking about this all day. So my question to you is, do you look at the OCG strats for ideas here in the TCG? For some weird reason, this is becoming a more and more controversial topic in Yu-Gi-Oh! But I want to know what your thoughts on it are. Do you like to look at OCG text? Do you not? I don't as much as I used to, just because I tend to play a lot of like weird shit that like you just don't see a ton of anywhere. Also, I like mass special summon decks like Punk or Sword Soul, so obviously a maxi driven meta isn't always great for those decks. But I do feel there is value in seeing how people who already have the cards are playing and how they're using them. And even if, yes, the metas are different and therefore have different challenges, I feel that there is always something to be gained from trying to understand someone else's thinking process when they are trying to do something interesting. But give me your thoughts about that below. And as always, click to like, click to subscribe, and join me next week where we finally see Yuga without the stupid armor on.